Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you some of the common places people fail the driving test on the Kings Heath driving test routes. So let's turn on and let's get straight into it. Now the first tip is, don't be afraid to wear sunglasses. There's often this thing about you can't wear sunglasses on a driving test. That's absolute rubbish. If it's a really sunny day like this and it will help you, wear sunglasses. I made a video on that years ago. I'll put a link to that in the description and any others that I mentioned in this video. So let's turn on. I'm going to check the handbrake's applied, check I'm in neutral and turn on. And the first thing you'll notice about where we parked is it's not very good because the parking around Kings Heath Test Centre is terrible. Now the examiners will help you, they will tell you what's coming from ahead, but I'm going to do this as though they're not going to do that because they don't have to do that, and I did know one time they got it wrong. They told the people it was safe to go and it wasn't. So how do you get out of a situation like this safely? The first thing to do is look around everywhere. All your blind spots, mirrors, everything. Now I've done that and I know it's safe, I can go to reverse and back up a bit. Do not just go to reverse. I've had many people do this on tests and I've seen it happen. They want to back up, they're at the start of the test, they're nervous, so what do? Reverse. They haven't even looked. You can fail straight away for doing that because if someone's standing behind you or a car is coming up behind you to pull in and you go straight to reverse, you can panic them, it can look as though you haven't seen them. So check everywhere, all around, apply the foot brake. I'm going to go to reverse, handbrake off. I'm going to check behind, come off the brake, looking back, left, right, all around, everywhere, creating space for me to see. And this is mainly about places people fail more than actually how to drive, but this is a place where people often fail. I can't see anyone around, but I will signal anyway because in this situation there could be someone ahead that I can't see. I check, I very slowly creep, be ready at any moment to clutch down, brake, stop. Checking, I can see, so I go. It's quite a simple thing to do. If you're ready for a test, you should be able to do that with ease. But people have failed quite often at the very beginning. I've known people fail in the first few seconds because they've pulled off and nearly driven into the car in front. The next place that people get wrong is something I've mentioned before. I made another video like this called Common Driving Test Mistakes, Kings Heath I think it was called. Looking at these signs, what are they saying? These white arrows on the blue backgrounds. Which way do we go? And the big thing is, don't block this. You see where if I pulled up behind the other car, I'd be blocking this. You don't want to do that. That's the big mistake people make. So I'm checking around. I've put a handbrake on because I won't be going anywhere just yet. I will in a moment, but if you can put a handbrake on for a few seconds, it's worth doing. I'm going to turn left, so I don't need to indicate. It's a left turn only. You can see from the sign. And I'm going to go roundabout right, so I'll go straight to the right-hand lane. People often go wrong there because I asked the examiner which way we're going. The examiner should have said to you at the beginning of the test, continue to follow the road ahead unless road signs or markings direct you otherwise. And we're going to be talking about road markings later in the video. It's right third exit on the roundabout. This is not an ahead. Do not go this way from the ahead lane. The examiner should say to you right third exit. And I remember speaking once to one of the most senior examiners about this, and he said, it's a right, that's how we mark it. So be sure you're in the right hand lane, check in the left mirror for anyone there who's going to go the same way. There's a grey car who could. Can I go before this lorry? No, that'll be a bit dodgy, so I'm going to stop, handbrake on because I won't be going again straight away. And I often talk about not putting the handbrake on too often, that's true and correct, but in this situation it's good because when it's so busy you can't go anywhere, there's no point in not putting it on. So that car's doing it, they're going right from that lane, that's the one I was talking about. So some people even go around to the next one from there. So I'll come around here, come off the road, get to third, build up to whatever speed I can. The speed for this vehicle on this road is 70, but remember it's a limit, not a target, so you don't have to get up to 70. Looking ahead, the road's fairly busy. It's about 20 to 9 in the morning, so you don't have to go around everyone. Yes, I could, that car did, the one behind going, let's go around me. Doesn't matter. You don't have to pass everyone. You must drive at a speed that is safe for the conditions. Now this car ahead is going fairly slowly, about 55ish, so I am actually going to go around, sort of check the mirrors and blind spot, signal, let it flash a few times, then move. I don't have to do this, but I can just to demonstrate how it's not wrong either way. You won't be failed if you just stay at a lower speed, because the speed you're doing must be appropriate for the conditions. People sometimes say, well, I'll be failed if I do 50 on this road. You can't answer that question because it depends on what's going on. If it's completely clear and there's no reason not to do 70, you could be potentially. But what if the road's really busy and there's a traffic jam and you can't even get above 10 miles an hour? Well, then you can't do 50, can you? So you can't have these set, rigid speeds. You must do this speed on this road. The rule is you must drive for a speed that is safe for the conditions and your surroundings. So is it raining? It's going to be raining heavily later today, apparently. Sometimes I've been down this road when it's got snow all over and ice, and we're doing 10 miles an hour in second gear. That was appropriate for the conditions. So you must drive to a speed that is safe and appropriate to the conditions. This is a place people often mess up, second left, because not many people have done a second left. And talking about things that not many people have done, that's going to be a big point later in the video. That's going to shock a lot of people. So I'm doing second left. And when you're on the driving test, the examiner will sometimes make it easier by saying things like second left. So they're actually telling you it's a second left. You could think, is this an ahead? Well, if the examiner says second left, what I'm going to do is a second left. I can see the arrow on the floor saying left there. Can I get down the side of these vehicles? Yep, but slowly. And I can do this because I'm taking a second left. I'm not going ahead where they are. See, it says on the floor, short for Solihull. So I'm checking around, check for cyclists. Someone's blowing the horn at someone there, but that's fine. Off we go. So that car's in from the middle lane. I think they did. I think that came from the middle and went over. So we're going down this road and we're going to head down to a place on this road where people actually mess up quite a bit. And I'd like to say, when I'm on this stretch of the road, although this video is about Kings Heath driving test routes, please don't ever just memorise the routes and learn the route. This is not a route in and of itself. This isn't a set route you'll do. This is a mixture of many different routes, because you can go anywhere in this area. People have this thing about the examiners have to stick to a set route and they have to drive the same route every day. That isn't true. There are roughly 20 routes from this test centre and each examiner will know 3 to 5 of them. Some of them know all of them. Yes, they do cycle through them. That's done because they don't want everyone to do the same routes and they don't want to annoy neighbours who they don't want to be doing the same routes every day and have a stream of learners pulling up in the same places every day. But there really are no set routes, and anyone you see selling the routes and learn the routes, what good's that going to do anyway? You can know the route, it's going to be different every time you drive it. Traffic will be different every time, parked cars, weather conditions, potholes can appear, temporary traffic lights. I made a video only a few weeks back about Becketts Farm, that roundabout. Now when I started filming, it was normal. Within about 10 minutes, they put cones up and the lanes were shut. So there's no point in just learning the routes. And why would you want to only be able to drive certain routes after you've passed? Please, please do not just learn test routes. These are common places people fail, but I'm not going to teach you the actual routes because there's no such thing. So as you drive down this road, this is a place where people often mess up, by this black and white house. What's coming in the distance, and I know on the camera you can't see quite as far as I can because of the way the lens works. What's this sign on the left saying at the top one? It's a bend to the right. It's quite a sharp bend here and people get this wrong because if it catches them out, I'm going to brake them down second. You can do it in third, but it's surprisingly tight, that bend, and it really does catch people out. So be careful of bends like that. There should really be more of a sign there. It needs to be more like the chevrons, the black and white arrows that point saying watch out for this. But for whatever reason they're not there. We're going to take the next road on the left, and we're going to come up straight away to another place where people often mess up. I won't tell you what this is, it's not just yet, it's in a moment. I'm going to avoid cutting this video when I can. I like to do videos in one long go. I'm not going to pull up here, but sometimes it's a place you can be asked to pull over. In fact, when I are pull up, just for the sake of it, I'm going to check my mirrors. There's no one around, so I don't need to indicate. What people do wrong here is they will have asked you to pull up in a safe place. Now, I know you can't probably see this so well in the video, but I'm between driveways. If they said pull up in a safe place, don't go and block a driveway, because that's not a safe place. And also, don't do a lot of people do wrong. I've just got to wait for this car to go before I do this. But you've got to make sure you check. Observation, remember, it's mirrors, including the blind spot, signal, manoeuvre. A load of people mess up on tests, probably because they're panicking and they're nervous. And again, I've got a test, a driving test nerves video I made. If you don't know, I'm also a hypnotist, and I make videos with hypnosis to help people drive. And I work with people online all over the world to help them overcome the fear of driving. So I understand that people are nervous, but on driving tests, a lot of people do this when they're asked to move off. What have they done wrong? You've signalled to say you're going to go, and then you look around and there's a car coming out of the driveway, so you're sitting waiting for them, and they're waiting for you because you're telling them you're moving off. Don't do that. Check, indicate, and then go. You don't have to indicate if no one is around, but you know, if I'm just distracted. There's a new road. I think that road wasn't there last time I came here. It's a whole new road. Did you notice one of the deliberate mistakes I made when I moved off there? Not the worst thing to do, but did you notice what I did incorrectly, or not as good as it could have been? Let me know in the comments. Looking ahead, see these black and white signs? These are the ones I mentioned should be about there. What else is coming up? What kind of junction? Not a T-junction, as people say. What is there? It's a crossroads. A lot of people simply don't see these crossroads. They come up, and even though it's clearly signed, they just miss it. So I'm going to signal, crawl up. It's a giveaway, so I don't have to stop. There's a new crossing there as well. I creep, and go, and cough. That's all changed there. I've not been around this little area for a while, but that just shows what I was saying just about. I know these areas really well. I've lived around here all my life, and I'm sure that crossing wasn't there last time I came here. There's a stop sign opposite me, so if you come from the other way, you have to stop. That wasn't there not long ago. So yeah, things can change all the time. You notice the bin lorry about there, and all the bins are out today. It can change every time you drive a route, so there's no point in just memorising the route. What do people miss here? Can you spot it? Can you see it? 40 sign, very hard to see. It's hidden behind the hedges. Well, it's not hidden, I mean the hedges are overgrown, but it's very hard to see that. And we're coming up in a moment to something I mentioned earlier on when I said van reversing. So mirror, brake, down to third. The van driver says thanks as I burp. Sorry about that, I just had a quick burp there. So yeah, good courteous driving from the van driver. It's still 40. There's a great road there, a great thin down that road. I won't do it on this video, but you don't go that way on the test, but there's something really good down that road. So mirrors, brake, coming down to 30 zone. And I was just mentioning this thing about, I said there was road markings I was going to talk about. We're going to get to a section here, which I'm not going to say what it is just yet, but this messes people up on the test. Why? Well, we're going to do it several times from different angles, and I'm going to show you what people get wrong. So, we've got this sign on the left. What's this saying? That sign with the people. There's some traffic, so mirrors, brake. It's pedestrians in the road, because you notice the pavement has gone on this side, so there could be pedestrians on the road. And it's good there's a bit of a traffic jam here. I think there are some lights. This will give me time to explain. This is great actually, if there are lights there. When you get to a red light, that itself doesn't actually just means stop. A red light on its own isn't a legal requirement to stop. Now, there are times you can go through red lights, and there are times you can go through stop signs. And people are surprised by this and say, oh, I thought it was legal. They're only legal if there is a white solid line on the floor with a light, a sign, or something like a police officer telling you to stop. Now, of course, the police officer doesn't need to be a line on the floor because they could be anywhere. But you'll see in a moment, if there are lights here, I'm pretty sure there are, I can't see any signs for them, but there'll be a light with a solid white line, not solid white, it'll be a red sign saying stop here. Yes, so lights, wait here until green light shows. Can I go through? Yes. But that light on its own, a light alone, doesn't actually mean stop. It must be accompanied by that sign. And that sign alone doesn't mean stop. It must be accompanied by a light. If you don't have those two things together, it doesn't mean stop. Now, there are exceptions, like if the line was there and it's been worn out by weather, like rain and ice and whatever, that can still be a legal requirement. I want to point out, I'm a driving instructor, I'm not a legal expert, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a solicitor, so don't take any of this as legal advice, but this is what I understand from being a driving instructor. Looks like they've resurfaced all this road. Why am I telling you this thing about lights and lines and signs? You'll see why in a moment. Now, this thing coming up is not necessarily on the driving test routes in and of itself, but it can be, because you might go the wrong way, there could be a diversion. This is what I'm saying about don't just learn the routes. I'm checking around with a signal. What is there on the left here? Can you see from the sign? What's the name of the pub? The sign's not as clear as it used to be. Clutch down, roll, clutch back up. What is there ahead of us? The Drawbridge. Very hard to see. Clutch, one, creep, roll. I'm going to give way. Who has right of way? No one. Keep clear. That keep clear is for when the bridge is down, the barriers are down. You have to creep into it to see. If you keep it all clear, you can't see. Be ready to stop, ready to stop, ready to stop, ready to stop. Still ready to stop, still ready to stop. Proceeding, go, where I can see. Many people who do that, having never been taught that kind of thing, get it wrong. And the road's very narrow here. Can you see how many places there are where you can fail? What else do people fail on here? What do they miss? They miss the end of the road here. They just don't see it at all. So I'm going to roll, creep. I can see something coming. I can see in my mirror here as well. Checking around mirrors and blind spot. It's very, very hard to see. I'm going to go into this road so I can turn around. It's very hard to get all that. The Drawbridge, you have to creep and crawl over that. Again, not necessarily on test routes. It can be, but it's not on the routes. It's not planned to be on the routes. But we're going to talk about not being planned to be on the route soon. Imagine if you go off route, what do you do? Could you turn around now this? Now this may seem obvious to an experienced driver. Again, as I said at the beginning, looking around before I select reverse. You'll be amazed how many learners, and I've had learners come to me for mock tests from other driving instructors who I won't name, who haven't even been able to turn around in a road like that. Such a simple thing, and it baffles people. I'm not picking on the learners, it's not their fault, it's the instructor's fault. They should have taught them it. But they don't even know how to do a basic turnaround like that. That may not be on the driving test, but I'm going to talk about that more later on. I'm going to save that for another point. I'm now going to go to the Drawbridge from another way. I could go back up there, but I'm going to do it from another angle. So I'm going to go down this road, and there's something else I'm going to show you before the Drawbridge. There's something else here that really messes people up, and if you're prepared for a test, it may still mess you up because it's quite unusual, but look ahead, always be planning ahead, thinking, what's happening, what's that on the right, what can you see behind the trees? Now, it's easy for me because this is where I grew up, and I used to walk around here picking blackberries off the bushes as a kid. But what is there here? What's on the right? Can you see it? People don't see this. I'm looking now and I can get a clue. What is that? A bridge. Now I know there's not much coming because I could see, but I'm going to creep, crawl, give way. You see, even then I looked and I couldn't see anyone coming, but there was. So I crept, I'll go back a little bit. That's good. And that is a brilliant example of how I'm really glad that happened. You can sound your horn. I was just about to go, but I couldn't go. So that car stopped me. There's no right of way, so what did I do? I stopped, waited for them to come through. Notice again, I checked behind before reversing. The woman said thanks. There's nothing wrong with that. These things happen. With that bridge, I'm so glad that happened. I didn't plan that, I didn't stage it, but it looks like it. It is so hard to see around that tunnel. Even if you creep and crawl, you can be just about to go and something appears and you didn't know it was there, and you thought, oh, where did that come from? These things happen. I'm going to go into this road, which wasn't there when I was a kid. This used to be a big house here. We used to tell tales as kids of the big spooky haunted house. It's gone now, boring. It's another boring housing estate. Sorry if you live here, it's nice houses, but you know, used to be a really nice, almost like a stately home there. I'm going to turn around in a moment. Again, checking. That car was coming around the road on the wrong side, so I had to move out of the way. Now again, I don't pretend to be perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, including me. We all make mistakes, and part of being a great driver is about understanding that and not being one of these people who's, oh, what's this idiot doing? What's this idiot? They don't know what they're doing. How did they ever pass their test? We all make mistakes, normally, especially people who say things like that. There's no point in getting angry and blasting your horn at people in an angry way just because someone is human and they made an error. Be ready to compensate for the people's errors. There's a moped behind me, I'm going to watch out for them. They're learning. Okay, they're going the other way. Talking about sounding your horn, I could have done that when I came through that tunnel. And I'm going to do it when I go through this way. You don't have to, it's not a legal requirement, but it's a good idea to do it. I did look through the tunnel, but I couldn't see anyone coming, so that car must have been about here, and by the time I crept in and gave way, they were probably about here, because you can just start to see the road. So mirrors, brake, clutch. Notice how many people have gone through the barrier into the canal. Sound the horn. A good tip is sound your horn when you're in the tunnel, because then it echoes. That's me trying to echo. You can also maybe flash your lights at night because it's dark, and I'll see your lights flashing. It's much easier from that way. The other way, this way, which came from first, is really hard to see, but that way isn't quite so bad. Talking about being hard to see, there's a nice segue there. I don't plan this, I haven't planned any of this, I'm just making it up as I go, because as I say, that's a sign of someone who knows what they're doing. I don't script this. What's it saying on the left here? Pedestrians in road, weak bridge ahead. Notice on the floor there is a stop line, but I don't have to stop dead because the lights aren't on. Stop when lights show. The lights aren't showing. Now you could stop anyway, you could get here and do this and stop. Not wrong, but you don't have to. But there is a car coming from that way. I'm not going to just follow them. I'm going to creep, crawl. Don't be like the idiot behind. What did I just say about not calling people idiots? I shouldn't say that, but I'm a human, I make mistakes. Don't be like the person behind. Can you even rev, get out of the way? Yeah, well, you can do that and you'll end up crashing. So, gonna go down this road. Don't be put off by people. I don't know if you'll hear that on the video, but they're revving their engine aggressively. They want to just speed everywhere and race around. Well, that's up to them. I'm going to stick to the law, and I'm going to go next road on the right. So mirrors, signal. Like I just said, there's a great example. I make mistakes, and it's easy to just say, oh, what's that idiot doing? You shouldn't call people idiots, I know, but it's just, there you go, that car's gone the other way. This is what it's like on the road. You have to understand, people make mistakes and people are human. Forgive my coughing, but talking about being human. If you don't know, I'm sorry to keep saying this, but I have to explain. I've recently had surgery on my vocal cords, so I'm currently going through speech therapy and getting my voice better. It's much better, I'm doing really well. But yeah, every now and then I have a bit of a cough. So yeah, do respect each other on the roads. There are certain drivers you could say don't deserve respect because they obviously just don't give a damn about anybody else. And the way I look at it is, if they don't care about anyone else, why should you care about them? If they're going to be speeding down the road on the phone, They don't care about anyone else, but you have to watch out for these people. Anyway, let's not get too much into some philosophical debate about things. I'm going to show you something else in a moment where people go wrong. These speed bumps could be one, because a lot of people don't see the speed bumps. We're going to go along this road, and I'm going to go around and sort of loop back and show you two more things people get wrong. So we're carrying on for quite a way, and it'll be about, I don't know, half a mile or so, maybe more than that. And we're going to go to another place people mess up. I'm just thinking if I could get there a quicker way, because there is a way I could go around and show you that. Which way should I go? I'll go straight on, because I think the other way there might be something else I can show you. I'm just thinking. So I'll go straight ahead. And there's not much not long left of this video, but where that truck's turning in, I'm going to mirror, brake. Like I was saying, I had the right way there, they maybe shouldn't have gone, doesn't matter. I'm going to brake, clutch, down second, off I go. So, yeah, just because you have the right way, you can't just accelerate towards the truck aggressively and say, oh, I've got the right way. Sometimes that doesn't apply. Sometimes you've got to think, look, the lorry's gone, I'm just going to give way. I'm going to take the next road on the left coming up in a moment. So, there's been quite a few things in this video. I planned roughly where I was going to go, but I didn't plan to go all this. What's it saying on that sign? That one there. Humps. So, as you go down this road, I don't know this road well. There's a story I'll tell you about this road while I'm here. I like to put funny stories into my videos every now and then. When I was a kid, this used to be a bus route for the number 49 and 69 bus. And it's no longer a bus route because bumps, bump, bump, bump. Was it this road? Actually, it was the other road, the road I'm going on to. This is Berman Road. I think it was Hurdis Road, or it's the other way around. There was someone who lived down here. Oh, it's the 20 zone now. So again, I'm saying it's changed. This wasn't the 20 last time I came here. There was someone who lived along this road, and this Berman Road, that was Hurdis Road, this is Berman Road in a bit we're coming up to. They campaigned for years that people were speeding down the road, or a little cat running over the road, quite a big cat actually. And this person got speed bumps put in on the road. And then, what was the story now? I can't remember. It was something like they campaigned for years and they got the speed bumps, and then they died, and then they removed all the bumps, and then they put them back in. I can't remember now, it was like 40 years ago or something. And it was such a mess, this road. They had bumps, no bumps, bumps, no bumps, and they kept putting them in and taking them away. And it was a real mess. I can't remember the full story, but there you go. I'm surprised that's a 20 zone. I didn't even know that was a 20 zone there. This is what I was saying about, you know, be aware, people can make mistakes, things can change. So, the end of this road, what do people get wrong? What do people miss here? What is that? It's quite obvious, but it says stop. There's a line and a sign, so I have to stop dead. It's not optional. Stop. Don't have to put a handbrake on, but it's on a slight hill, so I will set my pedals, creep, and go. A lot of people don't see that stop sign, even though it might seem fairly obvious. A lot of people miss it. And we're going to go along here. Now this is a major point of this video. I'm going to take the next road on the right. Imagine you go the wrong way in your driving test, which doesn't really matter, but you just imagine you turn down the road like this. And the examiner asks you to pull up on the left somewhere. We're going to pull up further on. It's unusually busy down this road. And they're going to ask you to do a turn in the road, as in what used to sometimes call a 3-point turn. So I'm going to pull up here, I'm going to do one. I don't mind over blocking the drive for now, because I'm just going to go straight into it. I'm going to go to one, check around, now on the babe, I do my turn in the road. You have been taught a turn in the road, right? Your instructor has been teaching you how to do a 3-point turn, right? No? Oh dear. Why am I mentioning this? There's another lovely little cat over there. Because years ago, the turn in the road was removed from the driving test. However, you must still be able to do them. And although you're not marked on the manoeuvre itself, you will be marked on how you do it, in terms of if you were to go forward and smash a curb, come back and smash into a parked car, you would have failed on that, obviously. So although you didn't fail on the manoeuvre itself, you failed on that. So many driving instructors simply don't bother teaching turning the road because they say, oh, it's not on the test anymore. Who cares? It's not on the test, not going to bother teaching that. That's interesting. When you fail your driving test and then you go and ask your instructor, well, you got me to do a turn in the road. Oh, they shouldn't have done that. That's not on the test. It's not on the test. You should still be able to do it, though. In fact, you must still be able to do it. Not just should, you must be able to do it. So make sure that you are being taught how to do things like that. Like the one earlier where I turned around. And I'm going to pull up here in a very special place. I didn't plan this at all, honestly. I'm just making this up as I go. But this is a very, very special place for me. Why is this such a special place for me? Have a guess. What do you think? Why is this a really special place that will always stay in my mind as I turn off? Because this very spot I'm on now, this is the first place I ever drove a car. Well, not quite. There's actually one at a time I'll tell you about in another video. But this is where I had my first ever driving lesson on Queen's Avenue, moving off from this spot. And there was a man on the left there repairing a van. I always remember that. So I hope you found that video helpful. I'd like to clarify the point what I was saying about, don't go getting aggressive with other drivers. Don't go calling people idiots. What's that idiot doing? But you're human, right? You can't numb your emotions. It's wrong. You can't just remove all your emotions and all your feelings and be, I am a person, I am driving and I have no emotion and I am going to check my mirrors and I'm going to signal and I have no feelings about anything. But you have to control your emotions when you drive. Don't get angry. Don't be like that car behind the driver revving their engine, rev. They was trying to force me to go. It's easy when you're the one behind because the car in front is the one that's going to be hit. You get these people who, they're not brave enough to speed, but they'll push behind other people. Go on, speed. But they won't overtake you, will they? Because they want you to get caught. And they're just cowards hiding behind you, pushing. Bullies. It's funny I mentioned bullies because my old school is not far from here. But that's a story for another video. So I hope you found that helpful. Let me know if you'd like to see other videos like this, other sort of common places people fail. And I'd like to stress the point as well about don't memorise test routes, because there are really no such thing as test routes. Please don't go out memorising, do this, do that. Those points I raised in this video are for anywhere really. Different drawbridges, that's not the only drawbridge in the UK. And I've got video footage of that up when I was doing it in a lesson and the bridge was going up and down. And yes, it has been known for people to drive into it. I remember one case about 30 years ago, it must be. There was an old man came out without his glasses. He forgot his glasses and he couldn't see very well. And the bridge was up on one side and he drove straight into the canal. And he had to come and get a crane to pull him out. Yeah, it's changed a lot now. The lights weren't there then. But the point I was saying about the stop lines is interesting. It's a legal point. Again, I'm not a legal expert. Be careful because there are so many different, there's these guidebooks, hundreds of pages long about the law. But if there is a light on its own, a red light alone doesn't mean stop. When you turn left to the red light, there's one by me, by a pub called the Red Lion. There's loads of pubs called the Red Lion. But I once had a pupil who we were going through, we'd stopped to the red light, he went green. No, it wasn't a pupil, it was a man in front of us, I remember. The man moved off, went through the green light, turned left, and there was a red light round the corner. The red light was for people from the other way, because there's no line on the floor. So there's a red light and a line over here, and there's just a red light here. So once you pass this one, or if you've come from this one, this red light doesn't apply. I'll put a link to this in the description so you can see. And this man, I also remember, he came around the corner and slammed the brakes on, and we had to brake hard, I remember that, because they thought that the red light meant stop. The red light alone doesn't mean stop. There must be a line on the floor or a sign. You notice a sign back there which said something about, it normally says when red light shows wait here, but that one said something about, I can't remember now, but it said something different. Anyway, I've just noticed the camera's overheated. He just made the video, so check out his other video. Just made it without breaking down. Check out the other videos on the screen now. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.